What the Republican Party doesn't understand about Gen Z is we don't like you.
You claim you want to appeal to Gen Z, but you call us stupid, you say we're dumb, you say we're indoctrinated. I promise it's a losing strategy.
And Gen Z is watching the Republican Party extremely closely as they destroy our environment, take rights away from women, do nothing about kids being shot in schools, and if they think they can give the middle finger to our generation and get away with it, they're sorely mistaken. So I shot a gun for the first time today, and I've always been told by Republicans that after the first time, I'll be in favor of guns and I'll want more guns. But for me, it was the exact opposite. I realized how powerful these guns are, and at a moment's notice, they can be used to take someone's life. And the fact that in many states in this country, you can walk into one of these stores and 10 minutes later walk out with an AR-15 is absurd. This experience made me want more gun control, not less.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got a very interesting story to talk about today, guys, as we got to talk about two very passionate Gen Z Democrat Party supporters. Took to TikTok to show their passion and support for the Democrat Party, more specifically Joe Biden, okay? And these guys, I'm telling you, they're probably the biggest Democrat Party / Joe Biden propagandists ever, okay? Especially for two 20-year-olds, okay? One of them, his name is Harry Sisson, right? If that's his actual real name. And the other one's name is Chris Moray, right? Again, they're passionate about change. They're passionate about the Democrat Party, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, man, I've never seen this amount of simping for the Democrat Party, more specifically Joe Biden, in my life, okay? I mean, they kissed the Democrat donkey like nobody else I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen this before, okay? It is so cringe. Trigger warning. Again, the amount of ass kissing / knob slobbing you're about to see here from these guys of the Democrat Party and Joe Biden is stuff of legends. Take a look.
President Biden has just released his first campaign ad for the 2024 presidential election, and it is amazing, and I bet it's going to give you chills. Take a look at it for yourself. So Republicans are now attacking President Biden for having notes at his press conference yesterday. Republican Representative Ronnie Jackson said, "Our alleged commander-in-chief needed a cheat sheet with questions printed in advance to get through a press conference. He needs to submit a cognitive exam or resign." Like, seriously, you think it's wrong to have notes at a press conference to know what points you want to hit on? And Ron... So President Biden just finished his State of the Union speech, and I'm still at the White House here watching it with everyone, and it was a terrific speech. I mean, he laid out a bunch of different policy proposals. He talked about the amazing achievements he's had in 2 years of his presidency and what he wants to accomplish in the next 2 years. And there were many times when Republicans tried to heckle them, but he gave it right back to them and put them right in their place. So yeah, just an amazing speech from President Biden, and I'm really excited for the next 2 years. So President Biden attacked the Republican Party for their crazy gun policy, calling them outrageous and unacceptable for standing with the NRA in the wake of some recent mass shootings. But President Biden is right. The Republican Party is bought and paid for by the NRA, and they'd rather take their money than stand up for common sense gun reform, which would save lives. Their behavior is outrageous and unacceptable, and we have to vote out any Republican who's not willing to work on this issue.
The State of the Union is tonight, and you can expect Biden to hammer home the fact that his administration has been one of the most productive in recent years. 12 million new jobs created, lowest unemployment rate in 54 years, investing billions in infrastructure, capped insulin at $35 for seniors on Medicare, the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, and 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. And I don't think enough people realize how consequential Joe Biden has been. Minnesota! I'll be honest, I'm one of the few Americans who actually approves of President Biden's job. I feel like he's faced uniquely difficult situations, and I'll give you one example. Take it way back, a year and a half, 2 years ago, when Afghanistan falls to the Taliban. Immediately, his approval rating drops 5, 7 points, even 10 points. It was disaster, because it was disaster. But we're really going to put that on President Biden? As if George Bush didn't walk us into Afghanistan. We stayed just with no plan in mind. We were just kind of like, oh, we got to be here just cuz. We built a horribly corrupt government over 20 years, and then none of the presidents would pull us out because they knew how disastrous it would be. Obama said he'd do it. He didn't. Trump said he would do it. He pulled 3/4 out and left the rest to Biden because he knew it would be disaster. So honestly, I give Biden credit for it.
So President Biden has announced that he is running for re-election, and it's likely going to be him versus Donald Trump in 2024. And if you're not supporting President Biden, you're not supporting America. He's been one of the most productive presidents in American history. I mean, he passed the infrastructure bill, the American Rescue Plan, the CHIPS Act, the PACT Act. I mean, I could go on for forever. But what do the Republicans have to show the American people? An indicted former president taking rights away from women and insurrection? The choice is clear. We will not be supporting the radical Republican Party in 2024. Instead, we'll be supporting President Biden and the Democrats and their amazing policy.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? And I'm thinking the same thing you guys are thinking, okay? It's like, there's absolutely no way there's anybody in this country that is that passionate about Joe Biden, okay? I mean, it's not just that they're passionate about Democrats. They're passionate about Joe Biden, okay? Probably one of the most uncharismatic, the most boring presidents we've ever had, okay? The only reason this guy is entertaining is because of the fact that he's clearly out of his mind, right? So to have Gen Z, okay, 2 Gen Z TikTokers go online and to shield for this man that much is extremely sketchy, right? And it turns out that these two are currently being outed as paid Democrat Party operatives by the DNC. And I want you guys to take a look at some of the videos that are put out that are aiming to prove that these guys are paid actors. Take a look.
You a little crash course on journalism. Using a very simple example, I'm going to show you how a story becomes an angle. And today's example are these two guys. Harry Sison, who you know is typical Democrat, and his buddy Chris Mowry. Now, the general way that a story begins is that a reporter sees something that doesn't quite make sense to them. And in this case, the thing that doesn't make sense is how have these two guys gained such traction so quickly? I mean, if you look at Harry's Twitter account, it literally says it was made in December 2011 when he would have only been 8 years old. Chris Mowry says he only sent his first political tweet a couple months ago and is not owned by any administration and doesn't work for the DNC. So you see that and you think to yourself, how did these guys blow up so quickly into these liberal TikTok stars? Well, the second part of a story is you look at a common denominator between the two things that don't make sense. And if you look at the bios of those two guys, they have the same exact email address, PalletMGMT. So now we figure out what exactly that is. And they have a website, Palette Management. It says that they are a talent management company that represents brands and content creators. It says that they provide public relations services and they even have an in-house counsel. So Chris and Harry, whose content is pretty much identical to each other, also have the same talent management company. At which point you get to step 3. Figure out who's funding all of this. And a quick check of FEC records shows that Palette Management is being paid by the Democrat National Committee. They were paid over $200,000 for paid media and online advertising. When a bunch of liberal content creators visited the White House a couple months ago, the trip was organized with the help of the founder of Palette Management. And the DNC even paid them a retainer in order to cover their travel costs and expenses. So there you have it, folks. They claim they're not being paid, but they are in fact being paid. Whenever you see something like this, it never happens naturally. There's always somebody or something behind the scenes controlling everything. And in this case, it's the DNC that's paying these kids a lot of money through a talent management company in order to spread their propaganda online. If I wanted to go even further on this story, I would look up what their parents do for a living. If I had to take a wild guess, I would say that it's probably something corporate in high finance, something that would get you very well connected politically. And finally, you come up with a juicy headline to put on top of it. Tell me what you think this one should be in the comments.
We all know this kid, right? And how about this one? Well, as many of us have suspected for a long time, looks like those two are partisan hacks bought and paid for by the DNC to the tune of around $210,000. If you check their bios, both of them are managed by a company called Palette Media. And you might think, well, why is that important? Because Palette Media received direct payments by the DNC totaling $210,000. Apparently, the DNC didn't want to make direct payments. By the way, all of this is publicly available on the FEC website, so they don't want to make direct payments exposing Harry and his goons. So instead, they get a little creative with their accounting. First, they send the money to Pallet, which then manages their talents like Harry. Now, none of this should surprise anyone because it's public knowledge that Biden started an army of social media influencers. But I guess they didn't want you to know who.
Yeah, so the theory is that because these two work for a talent management company called Pallet Media, who was paid $200,000 by the DNC, that these guys are paid Democrat Party operatives. Now, these two have caught wind of people basically outing them as paid actors for the DNC. And they're in panic mode, right? They're in full-blown meltdown mode as they posted this video to TikTok and then later deleted it. Take a look.
Hey everybody, it's the George Soros brothers, as the Republicans would like to call us, but recently many people on the right have been accusing myself and Chris of being paid by the DNC, and we just wanted to come on and say that's an incredibly dumb thing to think.
Yeah, like congratulations, you discovered we're both signed to Pallet Management, which is in our bios. And Pallet's a huge company, right? They do marketing work, they do management work. So they receive that money to do marketing and to cover travel expenses separate from what we do. So we haven't seen a dime of that $200,000. Like, do you really think I would dress like this if I had $200,000? And again, it's all public information. And we're also, you discovered we're Democrats, and we're going to vote for Joe Biden, which I think most people already knew.
And look, if the DNC is handing out checks, we should be first in line to receive them, but that's simply not happening, and we haven't received a dime from the DNC. And we want to make it clear, we're perfectly happy to work with organizations that share our vision. So if someone reach out to us and say, hey, we're trying to make sure the environment is protected, we'd love to work with them. But we are simply not working with the DNC, and we want to reiterate that everything that's been posted on social media is public information. This is not a home run story. It's all out there for everybody to see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're going to go continue our normal content like people want to see. Maybe we'll go hang out with Hillary and Hunter on an island or something, but not the home run story you think it is, and we love you all.
That ending there was sketch. Maybe we'll go hang out with Hillary or Hunter on an island or something. Yeah, so they later deleted that video, right? Again, for reasons we don't know. Now, honest to God truth, I don't know if these guys are paid actors or what, but I do tend to lean towards they probably are paid actors for the Democrat. I mean, we know they're paid actors, okay? They're signed to a talent management company, which basically means, yeah, they're paid actors, right? We know for a fact they're paid actors. Whether or not they're being paid by the DNC, who knows? But one thing I do know that really did make me really question this and say, yeah, they probably are paid by the DNC, is the fact that unlike most Gen Z, okay, they are supporting the establishment. They're not supporting progressives. In fact, they actually have come out here against Marianne Williamson, who is more progressive than Joe Biden. And they clearly are against the establishment. They're pro the establishment narrative. Take a look.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene is now defending the 21-year-old who leaked top-secret classified U.S. documents. She said Jake Teixeira is white, male, Christian, and anti-war. That makes him an enemy to the Biden regime, and he told the truth about troops being on the ground in Ukraine and a lot more. Ask yourself, who is the real enemy? A young, low-level National Guardsman or the administration that is waging war in Ukraine? I mean, she can't possibly be serious, right? Like, this 21-year-old kid betrayed the United States. Like, look, we know that Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't care about America, but defending someone who betrayed this country? Really? And she's an elected member of Congress. This is a new low for her.
Listen, I want to speak to my friends who are farther left than I am. For everybody that's supporting Marianne Williamson over President Biden in 2024, why? I have seen no reason to give her my support, and that's for a number of reasons. One, she's provided no clear plan on how she's going to get her policies past Congress. Two, there are some very concerning reports out on how she's treated her campaign staff in the past. And three, she would lose to Donald Trump. In 2020, she got less than 1%. And when your own party's not supporting you, that likely means that the American people won't either. And I haven't seen a single poll that shows her beating Donald Trump. We got to think pragmatically here, because I think we can all agree that 4 more years of Donald Trump would destroy this country.
Yeah, so straight DNC/establishment talking points. And it's videos like that that really made me say, you know what, there's probably something to this, because most of Gen Z, they're overwhelmingly progressive. Somebody like Marianne Williamson, somebody like Bernie Sanders, like, they overwhelmingly would support those type of candidates over somebody like Joe Biden. The fact this person is coming out and being so pro Joe Biden over somebody like Marianne Williamson is, again, that is what really set off the alarms in my head, saying Yeah, these guys are probably paid. But at the end of the day, I really don't know. But what I do know is that regardless of whether or not these guys are paid, when it comes to Gen Z, specifically males, okay, we have a NPC / simp crisis in this country, okay? Because these guys are no doubt NPCs, okay? This is NPC behavior, okay? And, you know, these guys might be paid, but there's no doubt in my mind that there are a lot of young males that probably do think like this, and it's a problem, right? It's a problem, okay? If you're a young male and you're voting Democrat, I don't really know what to tell you, bro. Like, I don't know any reason why a young male would want to vote Democrat. Again, some of these guys are passionate about issues like abortion, where it's like, again, I'm just saying that there's a simping problem here, right? A lot of them think that if they come out here and they support, you know, abortion or whatever, they're gonna get laid, right? They don't want to piss women off. Amazing, okay? And then they want to talk about protecting women's rights while at the same time supporting biological men being allowed in women's spaces and competing against them in sports and all types of other things that are antithetical to women's rights. Again, it's truly amazing stuff, okay? But again, these guys, whether or not they're paid, represent a problem that we have in this country with Gen Z truly being indoctrinated with liberal ideology. And again, it's an epidemic. It really is. Let me know what you guys think, though. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.